Hi, I'm Jürgen Strauss from Innovabiz, and welcome to episode number 24 of the InnovaBuzz Podcast, designed to help smart businesses with an interest in innovation and the Internet of Things become even more innovative. In this episode, I'm going to reflect on 5 lessons for your website project from riding an individual time trial today on my bicycle. Stay tuned for the podcast to learn more about the details. This podcast is sponsored by Innovabiz, where we help smart, innovative business owners save time and money and grow their business by making their websites achieve more. Of course, at Innovabiz, we do more than just build websites. We provide solutions to our clients' needs by leveraging the power of the internet in innovative ways. If you want to learn more, then go to innovabiz.com.au or contact me directly through the contact information there. We also invite you to get our Smart Website Blueprint that is now available from our website. You can get it either from the homepage or from the link underneath this blog post. Now, without further ado, let's get into the Innovation Hive and find out what lessons I took out of today's individual time trial that are relevant for websites.
This is the InnovaBuzz Podcast, helping smart businesses be even more innovative.
Hi, it's Jürgen again. Today, I competed in the Lara Latte Cycle Group's 6-monthly individual time trial event on my bicycle, and as I rode around the circuit, straining to achieve a good time, it occurred to me that the strategy for executing the time trial ride was a lot like executing a website strategy. How are those disparate things related, I hear you ask? Well, to show me, let me first give you some background about the individual time trial event, and hopefully I'm not going to fall asleep here because I am suffering from a little bit of exhaustion. Cycling's individual time trial is often referred to as the race of truth, because winning depends only on each rider's individual strength and endurance, and not on the help provided by teammates and others riding ahead and creating a slipstream. Each cyclist races alone against the clock, aiming to achieve the fastest possible time to ride a given circuit. In our case, it was an open, relatively flat circuit of 20.5 kilometres, and I had targeted myself to reach a completion time of 40 minutes and 48 seconds or better, requiring an average speed of 30 kilometres per hour or more. Just like with a website project, I had a clearly defined and measurable goal for the time trial. At the end of the ride, I would know if I'd achieved my target, and along the ride, using my cycle computer, I could monitor my progress by watching the key indicators. So the first similarity between my individual time trial race and a website project is that both have a clearly defined goal that is measurable and is achievable. At least they should have. Some websites don't. Now, I was the second rider to start, so I had a rider in front of me a minute ahead on the road, and riders following me at 1-minute intervals at the start times. My cycle computer was set to allow me to constantly check my current speed, my average speed, my pedal cadence, and my heart rate. I knew that if I monitored these key indicators, that if my average speed was 30 kilometres per hour or better, I knew my ideal pedal stroke for optimum efficiency so that I could maintain a high effort for the longest possible time was 90 to 100 pedal strokes per minute. That's based on my own experience. I know that my heart rate for maximum effort over a long sustained period of time is 150 to 170 beats per minute. So by monitoring these things on my cycle computer, I could tell at any given time how I was travelling in my individual time trial. As I rode around the course, there was an enormous temptation to push really hard to catch the rider that I could see in front of me. I had to keep reminding myself that the goal was to complete the circuit in a time that translated to a 30 km per hour average speed or better, and not, in fact, to try to catch that rider in front of me and cross the finish line ahead of him. So there's another lesson for the website project. Focus on the right goal. Don't get distracted by some other competition. In the website race, that other competition is usually getting to number 1 position on Google. So many people focus attention with their website on getting a top ranking in Google. For some obscure search term, it may not even be the one that will get them any benefit. And in doing so, they lose sight of more important goals, which might be to generate new leads, or to get sales from their website, or to grow their list, or build their reputation with quality content. Measuring the right things is also important for your website. Just like I was focused on measuring a few key indicators that would show me clearly whether I was on track to achieve my goal in the time trial, so it is important to measure key indicators for our website. Using Google Analytics on our website allows us to track a great variety of parameters, even conduct experiments whether a particular page feature will generate more of the desired outcome than another one. We should really be using this tool on an ongoing basis to track our website progress towards our desired goal, just like I was using my cycle computer to track my progress towards my desired goal. As I settled into a good cycling rhythm early in my individual time trial race, watching the key indicators on my cycle computers, I focused on good execution. In my case, that meant a smooth cycling stroke, an efficient cadence, keeping an aerodynamic shape on the bicycle to minimize wind drag, and steady, deep breathing to get plenty of oxygen circulating to those hard-working muscles. Just like with our website project, having set a clear and measurable goal, having tools to measure the right indicators in place, we can now focus on execution. Executing those website strategies and tactics that will lead us to achieving our goal. I continued the ride, watching my speed, my cadence, and heart rate indicators, and everything seemed to be on track. The longer the ride progressed, the more tired my legs became, and the greater seemed to be the temptation to put in a big spurt and try to catch that rider that I could see just in front of me. But each time that temptation rose its ugly head, I reminded myself about the real goal and checked all the indicators to see if I was on track to reach that goal. All good. Let go of that number 1 Google ranking and achieve the real goal. As I began to tire, my speed started to drop. My breathing became more shallow and my heart rate rose. So I adjusted. I was above my average speed, so I could afford to back off a little at that stage on the effort. Recover my breath, lower my heart rate, and ensure that I could maintain enough effort ongoing to the end of the ride so that the goal would be achieved. As with my individual time trial, executing a website project to achieve a specific goal or outcome will require adjusting things along the way to ensure that in the long run we achieve our goal. And having the right measures and the right indicators in place and watching the right things, monitoring our progress towards that goal will help us in the execution of our strategy. I think by now you can see how my individual time trial event reminded me of conducting a website strategy, and I hope you feel inspired to take on these key lessons in your tactics. Oh, the result, you ask? Well, I completed the 20.5 kilometre course in a time of 39 minutes and 32 seconds with an average speed of 30.9 kilometres an hour. Yes, mission accomplished. Now, to allow those tired legs to recover and then train harder to improve on that result in 6 months' time when we do the next Lara Latte individual time trial. Yes, just like a cycling result, a website is never finished, and we should always be looking at the results and then setting new, more challenging goals and reset our strategies and tactics to achieve those new goals. Of course, even though the individual time trial event was physically quite strenuous, it was still enormous fun to do. So here's the bonus tip: have fun with your website journey. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the InnovaBuzz podcast and my story about the individual time trial and the lessons learnt for executing your website strategy. All the show notes for this episode will be at innovabiz.com.au/ITT, as in individual time trial. That's ITT, all lowercase, innovabiz.com.au/ITT. I'd love you to leave some comments under the post telling us what you think of today's story and the analogy. Do you have a similar experience that reminds you of executing a good website strategy, or indeed of executing some strategy within your own business? Thank you for listening to the InnovaBuzz podcast. We'd love you to review this podcast because reviews help us get found and your feedback helps us to improve. You can review us over at iTunes or at Stitcher, and while you're there, subscribe so that you'll never miss a future episode. Until next time, I'm Jürgen Strauss from Innovabiz, and remember, if you don't innovate, you stagnate. So think big, be adventurous, and keep on innovating.